You've been lied to. Not by politicians, not by the media, not even by the people you hate. The lie came from within you. A voice so soft, so comforting, you never thought to question it. It's the voice that says, everything will be fine if I just wait a little longer. It's not my fault. The world is just unfair. I'm doing my best. I deserve rest. This voice sounds kind, but it's killing something deep inside you. It's not protecting your peace. It's protecting your stagnation. And the longer you listen, the quieter your will becomes, until one day you realize you've been sleepwalking through life. The illusion of safety. We crave comfort like addicts crave their next hit. But comfort doesn't feel like a drug. It feels safe. And that's the problem. Philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once wrote, "Man is a rope stretched between the animal and the Übermensch, a rope over an abyss." Most people never cross that rope. They build a little house in the middle of it and call it balance. They convince themselves that moderation is wisdom, but often it's just fear dressed as virtue. The fear of falling, the fear of failing, the fear of realizing that their life, so carefully curated, so socially acceptable, means almost nothing. The hidden prison of normal life. From childhood, you were taught to color within the lines, to stay manageable, predictable, employable. You learned how to function in society, but not how to live in reality. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, the German theologian who opposed the Nazis, once wrote about the theory of stupidity. He said that stupidity is not an intellectual defect, but a moral one. It's what happens when a person willingly surrenders their ability to think, to judge, to resist. He wasn't talking about the uneducated. He was talking about the obedient, those who follow, not because they believe, but because it's easier than standing alone. And maybe that's you. The seduction of helplessness. We often hide behind helplessness because it feels like humility. We say, "What can one person do?" as if powerlessness were a virtue. But it's not humility. It's submission. Submission to entropy, to comfort, to the quiet erosion of will. Carl Jung called this the shadow, the part of us we refuse to acknowledge, the dark twin of our consciousness. You think your shadow is your anger, your envy, your lust, but it's not. Your shadow is your potential, the power you buried because the world told you to stay small. Every time you say, "That's just the way I am," you bury it deeper. The story of the caged lion. Imagine a lion born in a zoo. It grows up surrounded by metal bars, fed at the same time every day. To the lion, this is life. Safe, predictable, easy. Then, one day the gate opens. The lion steps out, and for the first time, it sees the wild. The wind is colder. The ground is rougher. There's no one bringing food. The lion hesitates. It turns back to the cage. Because the cage, though it was prison, felt like home. You are that lion. Your cage is your routine, your excuses, your carefully designed mediocrity. And every day you return to it, because freedom feels like fear. The disease of passive living. Plato in the Republic spoke of people chained in a cave, watching shadows on a wall, mistaking them for truth. If one of them were freed and dragged into the sunlight, he would scream, not from pain, but from clarity. We live in that same cave, only now the shadows are digital. Endless feeds, endless opinions, endless stimulation. Each scroll, each swipe, is a small escape from the unbearable silence of the self. We call it relaxing, but really, it's sedation, a slow numbing of the spirit. You don't notice it happening until one day you wake up and feel nothing. Not sadness, not joy, just a dull hum, a faint awareness that you've been watching life instead of living it. The brutal truth about change. People say change is hard, but that's not true. Change is easy. What's hard is admitting you've wasted time. It's facing the version of yourself who could have been more and realizing you killed them with comfort. Machiavelli once said that men desire change, but fear the means by which change must come. The means are always painful. Growth feels like loss. Evolution feels like death. You must burn parts of yourself to create something new. That's not failure. That's transformation. The seed must crack to become a tree. The cocoon must break to become a butterfly. You must destroy who you were to become who you are. So ask yourself, who are you when the world stops watching? When no one's judging, no one's liking, no one's validating? What are you left with? Maybe that's the real reason people fear silence. Because in silence, you meet yourself. And for many, that's the scariest encounter of all. Bonhoeffer said that stupidity can be more dangerous than evil. Because evil can be confronted, but stupidity cannot. It's not about IQ. It's about the refusal to awaken. Maybe the enemy isn't out there. Maybe it's the part of you that refuses to think, refuses to feel, refuses to move. Here's the twist. That comforting lie, the one we started with, isn't entirely evil. We needed it. It protected us once. It kept us from breaking under pressure, from facing unbearable truths too early. It helped us survive. But survival is not life. At some point, you must outgrow the very lie that kept you safe. Like a snake shedding its skin, you must leave behind what no longer fits. The awakening. You are not powerless. You are just afraid of your power. Because true power doesn't come from control. It comes from responsibility. From realizing that everything you do and don't do ripples outward into eternity. You can no longer say, I didn't know. You do know. You've heard the call. You've seen the cage. Now the only question is, every generation has its own poison. Ours isn't war or famine or disease. It's comfort. It's distraction. It's the illusion of progress without the pain of change. But maybe, just maybe, if enough of us wake up, if enough of us choose discomfort, choose awareness, choose life, we can become what Nietzsche called the bridge between what humanity is and what it could be. So take one small step. Read the book you've been avoiding. Have the conversation you've been fearing. Sit in silence long enough to feel something real. The comforting lie is easy, but the truth, the terrifying, liberating truth, is that you are capable of far more than the world expects of you. And maybe that's what you were never meant to hear. The reckoning within. There comes a day in every person's life when they look into the mirror and realize that the reflection isn't lying. It's you who has been lying to it.
You've smiled at yourself after another meaningless day, telling your reflection that you're doing fine, while your soul whispers, "No, you're not." You know what it's like to carry that quiet ache, the one that grows heavier each year. The ache of knowing that you've settled, that somewhere between the dreams of childhood and the responsibilities of adulthood, you traded passion for convenience, curiosity for comfort, truth for peace. Philosopher Soren Kierkegaard once wrote, "The most common form of despair is not being who you are." And isn't that the tragedy of our age? That we can access every piece of knowledge ever recorded, and yet we remain strangers to ourselves. We've mastered the art of appearing okay. We curate our existence, post it online, and hope the world believes the story we're telling. A story we no longer believe ourselves. We call it productivity. We call it self-care. But underneath, we're terrified. Terrified of being ordinary. Terrified of wasting our potential. Terrified of dying without ever having truly lived. And so, we hide behind the mask of busyness, hoping that movement will disguise our lack of direction. We are running faster than ever before. But to what? If we're honest, most of us don't even know. The psychology of avoidance. Psychologists say that the human mind is designed to avoid pain, emotional, physical, existential. It's not that we're lazy, it's that our brain confuses comfort with safety. But there's a paradox. The more we chase comfort, the weaker we become. The less we challenge ourselves, the more fragile our spirit turns. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Yet we avoid obstacles at all costs. We outsource discomfort. We medicate boredom. We drown anxiety and distraction. And slowly, we erode the muscles of the soul. We forget that strength isn't inherited, it's forged. The hidden cost of peace. There's a saying, when you choose peace over truth, you get neither. We mistake silence for serenity, when often it's just fear of confrontation. How many truths have you buried just to keep things calm? How many times have you swallowed your own voice to avoid shaking the fragile harmony of your world? Peace without truth is anesthesia. It numbs you. It doesn't heal you. Real peace comes after the storm, after the confrontation, after the breakdown, after the honesty that shatters your illusions but frees your heart. The weight of unlived lives. Somewhere deep inside you, there are versions of yourself you never allowed to exist. The artist, the thinker, the rebel, the lover. They're still there, waiting. Waiting for courage. Waiting for permission. Waiting for you.
Each day you postpone your potential, they whisper a little softer, until one day you can no longer hear them at all. And that's when most people finally break, not because of tragedy, but because of emptiness. Nietzsche said, "When we are tired, we are attacked by ideas we conquered long ago." The ghosts of your unlived lives never leave you. They wait patiently in the quiet moments, reminding you that the comfort you cling to is built on the bones of your own possibilities. The uncomfortable freedom. Freedom isn't what you think it is. It's not doing whatever you want. It's doing what terrifies you, because you must. To be free is to accept the burden of your choices, to stop blaming the world, to stop waiting for the right moment,
There is no right moment. There is only now. Philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre said, "We are condemned to be free." Condemned, because freedom is terrifying. It leaves no one else to blame. But within that terror lies something beautiful. A raw, unfiltered sense of responsibility, not to the world, but to your own becoming. A brief story, The Sculptor. There's a story of a sculptor who spent 40 years chiseling a single block of marble. When people asked him why he took so long, he said, "Because every time I strike the stone, I see a little more of myself inside it." Maybe that's what life is. Not building something new, but revealing what's already there beneath layers of fear, shame, and expectation. Every choice you make, every truth you face, is a strike of the chisel. And one day, if you're brave enough to keep going, you'll meet the person you were meant to be all along. The mirror of history. History doesn't repeat itself, but human nature does. Every empire that fell, every civilization that decayed, did so not because of war or poverty, but because of moral laziness. The people stopped thinking. They stopped feeling. They outsourced responsibility to systems, to leaders, to comfort. Bonhoeffer warned that this is how evil thrives, not through monsters, but through ordinary people who refuse to resist. Look around. We are more informed than ever, yet less wise. We are more connected than ever, yet more divided. We are surrounded by abundance, yet starving from meaning. It's not technology that's enslaving us. It's our unwillingness to be uncomfortable. The point of no return. There's a quiet moment that comes before real change. Not a shout, not a breakdown. Just because the truth, though it burns, though it breaks, though it hurts, is the only thing that can set you free. You can live your whole life asleep, numb and content, a citizen of the cage. Or you can wake up and risk everything for the chance to feel alive. The world won't applaud your awakening. It might even punish you for it. But somewhere in that chaos, you will find something no comfort can offer: meaning. If you felt a chill during this video, it's not fear, it's recognition. It's the echo of something ancient, something true, calling you back to yourself. So when the voice of comfort whispers again, listen closely. Then, smile and walk the other way. Because that's the moment you stop surviving and start living. The rebirth of the self. To be reborn is not a religious idea. It's a psychological revolution. It's when you stop asking, what do I need to get from life? And start asking, what do I need to give up to truly live? Your old self will fight you for its survival. It will whisper, stay small, stay safe, stay the same. But transformation begins the moment you stop negotiating with the part of you that wants comfort more than freedom. Nietzsche called this moment the great noon. It's the instant when your old shadows fall away and you stand in the full light of your own becoming, naked, terrified, but alive. That's the price of awakening. You don't get to keep your illusions. You don't get to keep your excuses. You don't get to keep the person you were. You lose everything except the truth. The silent revolution. We like to think of revolutions as something loud, crowds shouting, walls falling, systems collapsing. But the greatest revolution is silent. It happens in a single heart that decides once and for all to stop being asleep. When one person wakes up, they create a ripple. A child notices. A friend changes.
A stranger is inspired. One spark becomes a flame, and a flame becomes a signal in the dark. Bonhoeffer didn't survive the prison cell that took his life, but his words outlived the empire that killed him. Because truth always outlives comfort, and the awakened always outlive their cages. The paradox of awareness. Here's the paradox. The more aware you become, the more pain you feel, but the more beautiful life becomes too. Ignorance is easy. It's soft, warm, and dull. Awareness is sharp. It cuts through you. It forces you to see the suffering of others, the vanity of your ambitions, the impermanence of everything you love. But through that pain, you gain something extraordinary: depth. You start to feel life differently. A sunset isn't just pretty, it's fleeting. A conversation isn't just small talk, it's connection. Every breath, every heartbeat becomes a reminder that you are here for this brief, impossible moment. And maybe that's enough. The fire of becoming. Plato believed that the soul remembers truth but forgets it upon birth. Life then is a process of remembering, of rediscovering what your soul already knew.
You were not born to chase pleasure. You were born to seek truth. And truth, by its nature, burns. So if your path is painful, you're probably on the right one. Each challenge is a forge. Each heartbreak is a hammer. Each failure, a flame. They're shaping you, not into something new, but into something real. The mirror of mortality. One day, you will die. Not someday far away. One day, soon enough. You don't know the date, you don't know the hour, but you know it's coming. And yet, how often do you live as if it's not? You act as if time were infinite, as if tomorrow were guaranteed, as if meaning could wait. The Stoics practiced memento mori. Remember, you must die. Not to be morbid, but to be awake. Because when you remember death, life sharpens. Every trivial worry dissolves. Every small kindness matters. Every choice becomes sacred. Death is not the end. It's the final mirror. And in it, you see what was real all along. The path back to wonder. As children, we lived in wonder. We saw magic in sunlight, stories in shadows, infinite meaning in the smallest things. But adulthood taught us to measure instead of marvel, to analyze instead of feel. You were not born cynical. You were trained to be. And what the world calls maturity is often just the slow death of curiosity. But you can reverse it. Wonder isn't lost, it's dormant. It returns the moment you stop demanding certainty. When you allow mystery to be beautiful again, life starts speaking in symbols, and the ordinary becomes divine. The courage to feel. We say we want truth, but most of us can't handle how it feels. So we hide behind irony, intellect, and endless noise. But healing doesn't come from thinking, it comes from feeling. The tears you've held back for years, they're not weakness, they're evidence of being alive. When Nietzsche said, "Those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who could not hear the music," he was talking about this courage. The courage to feel deeply in a world that mocks emotion. Feel even when it hurts, because numbness isn't safety, it's slow suicide.
The great exchange. Every day, you trade something. Your time, your attention, your energy. For comfort, approval, distraction. The question isn't whether you're trading. The question is whether the trade is worth it. If you're giving away your soul for comfort that doesn't fulfill you, You're not living, you're leasing your existence. Take back ownership. Reclaim your focus. Guard your inner life as if it were sacred, because it is. The last invitation. You don't need to wait for a miracle. The miracle is that you are here, breathing, thinking, capable of choice. You don't need to fix the whole world. You just need to wake up within your own. Start small. Turn off the noise. Sit with yourself until the silence stops feeling like an enemy. That's where the truth begins to whisper again. And when it does, don't run from it this time. Listen. Follow. Because maybe the terrifying truth you were never meant to hear is that your life has always been waiting for you to begin. Final words. The quiet aftermath. When this video ends, don't scroll. Don't click away. Just sit. Feel the weight of what you've heard. Let it press against you. Let it hurt a little. Because that pain is proof that something inside you still wants to live honestly. And maybe tonight you won't sleep peacefully, but you'll sleep awake. And that is the beginning of everything.